Hi everybody, today I'm bringing you some photos of a work event earlier this year, and I'm using a piece of ephemera, which is the ticket from our event. I just went to cut the piece of background paper. That bokeh paper is from Lawn Fawn, and it's called Let's Bokeh in the Snow, and it's the Holly Berry Twist color paper, which is really cute and sweet. It has bokeh, but it also has stars at the same time. Then I pulled that piece of chevron paper from Pebbles Basic. It's the black chevron. And now I'm trying to find a card to journal on. I have these L's Studio printables that I printed from their website, which is shoplstudio.com. It's the Winter Notes collection. And I was thinking about maybe putting another layer of paper under the black chevron, but decided I didn't want to do that. Just to make everything fit, I am going to use that photo block. That's a photo block, the chevron paper. But what I decided to do is the notes from today journaling card and the photo above it are going to actually come off that a little bit. I am thinking right now about using that border strip from the Let's Bokeh in the Snow paper, but that is not going to end up staying on there. I thought it was a little bit distracting from the whole layout. So right now I'm just putting down my photos and trying to get the spacing there proper, and I'm trying to put about the same distance from the top and sides of the photos. My photo block there of the chevron paper is about where it's going to sit. And then I put down that ticket. And I'm one more time checking the length of that chevron paper so I get it cut properly, because I do want it to butt right up to the edge of the paper. But I put down that ticket, and as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it and thinking, you know, my title may not have enough room to go up above the ticket. So that's one thing that I'm thinking about a little bit there. I'm playing a little bit still with that border strip, trying to decide. I cut it down a little bit to see if that made it look better to me, but it is not going to stay. Just gluing down a few little edges here. This is a relatively simple layout, but it still took me about 32 minutes to do, from the choosing of the papers all the way through. What I've done here is I've pulled some black glitter photo corners out of my stash, and I'm thinking about putting those on the sides, but I don't like the way they look with the black. I'm also thinking about using these black Heidi Swap bows, and those aren't going to make it. But what I do find is some of these red and silver snowflakes, and I really like how they pick up the red from the paper, and they're just sparkly and fun. It was an evening out to a musical event, so it just kind of works with that. Those snowflakes are from Walmart, and they were in their holiday section, so you won't be able to find them anymore, unfortunately. Now what I just did there is I pulled that little label, and that also was from L's Studio Printables. It's from the Merry and Bright collection, and I really like that because it takes up some of the extra space from the above the ticket there. But the other thing it does is it also adds a little bit of a touch of red up there. And then I know that my title can be mounted on top of that chevron block there as well. And I'm just cutting out that label a little bit more. The other thing that that label did is that it gave the snowflakes a reason to be resting above that ticket, is the best way to describe it. And now right there you see that I have the classic trio of embellishments there. So it's that design principle there of using the rule of 3, and the way they're arranged, each of the photos is contained inside that trio of embellishments. That just helps keep your eye focused on the photos, especially if you have a busier layout, which, you know, this is actually pretty simple. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to decide on what kind of alphabet I am going to use here. And if I remember correctly, these are the Fitzgerald thickers from American Crafts, but they are not going to, that's not going to be what I'm using. The black was a little bit too stark for me, even though the photos have quite a bit of black in them, because they didn't have any glitter or anything on them. So now what I did is I pulled out this chunky silver glitter alphabet, which I absolutely love, and it's the Wisecrack thickers, and the color is really just silver there, so Wisecrack thickers there. I like those thickers as well. The Fitzgerald thickers, besides being black, and I didn't like the way the black looked, they were pretty narrow. Normally that's a good thing, but my title is actually only 2 words and they're not very long. It's only 7 letters in total. So I needed some sort of font that would actually take up quite a bit of space there, and that's exactly what is happening here, is it's going to take up a lot of space. So one of the things about these snowflakes is they obviously are not scrapbooking embellishments, and so they probably are not and I can't, archivally safe. That's the words I wanted. But you know, really, these photos aren't exactly precious to me. I scrapbook really for myself. I certainly do have family members and I have grandchildren that, you know, I hope someday that they'll take the layouts, at least the ones that pertain to them. But really, frankly, if they don't, that's okay with me, because I'm going to be gone. And I really do this for the creative piece of it, although I am mindful, of course, that especially with my grandkids or family members, that I'm leaving a legacy of my love for them with the scrapbook pages. But a page like this, the only person it's really important to me, or important to, is me. And it's important even in some ways more as the creative outlet of what I do. So if the materials that I use are not archivally safe, especially on a page like this, it's not going to be as important to me. What I have been doing is I've been gluing the snowflakes down. Because they are not scrapbook materials, they didn't come with any kind of adhesive, and they're glittered on both sides, which makes them hard to stick. As a matter of fact, I pulled the layout just so that I could look at it in case I needed to and refer to it while I was doing the narration here. And one of the snowflakes fell off that had been adhered with a glue dot, so I'm going to have to go back and add glue. I'll probably try some Scotch quick dry glue and see what happens there, because you know, I don't want them just falling off and in my albums. I am, speaking of the Scotch quick dry, using that on the letters here just because they are chipboard, so they're a little bit finicky about sticking, and I don't want to find them in the bottom of my page protector. That's the snowflake that kept falling off on me, and I just tipped the layout to make sure that I had them all down. They're raised up a little bit, so they don't necessarily look, even when they're glued down, like they are glued down. So I'm playing a little bit there with where the journaling spot sits, and here we are. I'm using some of the Scotch quick dry right there to keep it down. What I had done there is I put a foam dot behind that one, and it wasn't sticking very well to the foam, again because there's glitter on the other side, so that Scotch quick dry seemed to do the trick. That one I'm not having any problems with, so I'll just have to get that taken care of. Oh, and how nice, I'm actually cleaning up. The thickers there are stored in really thin plastic bags, and I linked that in my very last video if you want to go back to that video. Now what I was thinking about here is I was thinking about putting some kind of date on the page. That's why I went and I pulled these other smaller silver thickers, but I'm going to decide that no matter what date I put on there, it's going to be a little bit too big, and I thought it was just taking a little bit too much emphasis away from the photos. And the date here I can put in this spot right on this journaling card because there's room for it. So I ultimately decided not to put that date up, and I'm just going to end up putting a little bit more information up in that top label now instead of the date. But when I did that, put that label up there, that's what I originally thought I was going to do. So just finishing up, talking a little bit about the evening. We have a music theater not too far from where I live, and that's what we were doing this particular night. So I'm just finishing up the journaling. As I said, at the end I have a still shot and a couple of detail shots for you to take a look at if you want to see any details. If you have any questions, you can always comment and I'll be happy to answer. Bye everybody.